Today we are with Sonia Saravia, and you are a somatic mentor, right? You help with what is it? Can you start by explaining what is somatic mentorship or somatic? I
Yes,
don't even know.
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. So mentorship, it's a guidance, right? And somatic mentorship, somatic comes from the word soma. And the word soma, it's a Greek word that means body. The Greeks use that word to explain body awareness. So the somatic mentorship, it's a guidance to understand the language of our body. It's complex, the body, much more complex than we can imagine. We have the instincts of survival that are translated by our autonomous nervous system. We have the personality defenses that are translated by the behavior of our muscles reacting to the environment. And we even have the fascia that behaves like a little bit of waves of reaction also to the environment. And all of that information pass from body to brain and some information from the brain to the body. And this is a too high road, you know. So a lot of mental problems or issues in mental health don't come exactly from mental states, but by bodied states. It's we need to include in the therapy world or in the mentorship world this language of the body, you know. And this is pretty
Yes.
much what I do. A trip, a guidance to understand this language, which normally I call it's like learning Chinese, It's like it's very difficult at the beginning, but you have a way to move through it and to go there feeling safe enough in the presence of another. But that said, it's very important to be aware that we are mammals of group. We survived in groups, and there is a reason for that. And that reason is nature determines that, okay, mammals have a kind of nervous system that can co regulate with each other for the preservation of the species in group. So, bringing this principle to the guidance, what I provide, it's safety enough to do that trip because the nervous system and the body knows how to heal. It needs just to feel safe enough.
Yeah, sure. And before we get into evolution and mammals and mammal nervous systems, which is fascinating, and I already have 100 questions for you.
Oh my
Um,
God.
but because actually I've been treating myself, I think, somatically without even knowing lately, especially lately. Um,
Okay.
but before we get into those deep confusing topics like mammal psychology and mammal nervous systems and group survival. Um,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what are some things that you have overcome that have obviously brought you here to where you are to speak Chinese, the Chinese of the body, right? Ni hao,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Ni hao, exactly. Well, I started my journey through the body when I was 20 years old in 2003. 2000, sorry, 2000, with the yoga actually. So I got fascinated about this philosophy and I started to study and I became a teacher in 2001. And from there on, through 25 years of career, I've watched people bodies evolving to these techniques and actually doing it myself. But during my career, I experience a lot of times in myself and in my students a wave of stress arising after 1 year and a half of practice of yoga. Like the techniques of yoga are very good. The asanas, the pranayamas, the yoga nidra, the samyama. So all of those techniques are wonderful. Yeah.
My question to you is why? Because obviously something brought you. Maybe you saw yoga and you were fascinated and you were like, "Wow, namaste. I see the light within you and that's awesome. And I can bend in this way and I can improve my flexibility and I can activate my kundalini or whatever it is that you saw that was fascinating. That's awesome."
Mm-mm.
But there's often a drive that is very
It is.
powerful,
It is.
uh,
Yeah.
something we're compensating, something we want to fix or solve or understand better about
Yeah.
ourselves because we feel pain. And
Yeah.
the reason that I'm asking you is not because you're wrong. It's because I want anybody that's watching this to
Mm-hmm.
connect with you and with your journey. You've been through difficult, painful things like everybody else, and you
Mm-hmm.
found solutions along the way. It must have taken you many years. So,
Yeah.
what brought you on this journey? Why? What were you feeling? And how was your life before you even started all of this?
Okay. So let's go far, far away. I had a very difficult childhood. Um, I'm a daughter of a mother that is completely disconnected from this world. My mom is epileptic, so she had a lot of seizures and convulsions when I was a little girl. So I grew up with this fear of losing love since baby, actually. So I was always the daughter, the rescue daughter, the one that took care of mom. And then I had a little brother, 8 years. When I was 8 years old, he's autistic. So I raised a little bit my brother from, I don't know, the age of 1 until 2, 3, I guess. So my childhood ended at 8. And I was very sensitive, very, very sensitive. Always lived with up and downs, emotional up and downs, very, very big, because in my house, there is no stability, there is no structure. The person that gave me more structure was my dad and my teachers. I loved school, and it became my refuge when I was a child to study, to be good at school. It was very like a safe space for me, and I guard this until today. I'm not a workaholic anymore, but studyholic, if that word exists. And this kind of insecurity made me search for structure, landing, grounding. And this is my drive, independency, but independency in a very grounded and self-awareness way, not an independency with disconnection from other people. So this is my big, big drive. When I arrive into the yoga world, the yoga gave me a lot of structure. But after a while, as I was saying, now I understand your question, I found out in myself and in my students that a trauma wave will start to arise with some years of practicing. And I wouldn't know or understood why that happened because the results were so good with the techniques. The improvement of the body, the improvement of the mind was so good for a while. Why that would rise, right? And as for me personally, my big trauma is relational. um, I had other shock traumas, but all my shock traumas, the biggest, the important one was related to my mom.
So I want to kind of sharpen what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand you completely. I understand you and resonate with you
Mm.
so much. And this wave that you are describing, up and down, for some people, this is complete chaos. for some part of their week or their month, and then they feel great for a few days, and then they feel terrible. And
Yeah.
if I'm understanding you correctly, you had a lot of um, pleasing tendencies because your mother, she couldn't take care of you, and instead she
Mm-hmm.
needed your help and your support, and
Mm-hmm.
and so you kind of like became the person that is giving and taking care of others,
Yeah.
and um and that, there's good things and extremely painful things about that, right? um and maybe when you, because you are smart and because you are so emotionally connected with yourself, you saw something in yoga. You didn't know what it was, but
Mm-hmm.
you maybe knew that the way that I live my life without knowing is not exactly correct, and it can be much better. And
Mm-hmm.
something is drawing me towards this practice of yoga. Am I
Mm-hmm.
in the right direction?
No, no, no. It was a felt sense actually. Today I analyze it because I had 25 years of history of it. But at the
Uh-huh.
time was very intuitional. I felt stability. Finally, those waves
When you did yoga,
were
right?
more, yeah, were more
Yeah.
stable. But
Yeah.
after some years of practice, they came back. And they
Okay.
came back strongly because I
Hmm.
was more aware of my body. I was more aware of my sensations. And that's the question that follow me through my career of yoga and that brought me to somatics, actually, somatic therapy and mentorship, because I understood our waves, actually, they are the natural state of living. The thing is, how much can you contain in your body those waves? Do you have a physical body that is capable of contain those waves of reaction to the environment, those waves of reaction to your history? You know, this is the thing. And yoga is very good until a point, but at some point, you need to work on trauma. You need to work on your trauma. And that point, yoga doesn't work. It gives you self awareness, it gives you self awareness of the body. It helps very much, but you need other tools to work to those shocking waves or childhood trauma waves that may come in your situations in life. Trauma is a fact of life. The thing is,
Yeah.
how can I contain that? You know?
Yeah. So, my question to you, and I have again so many questions. Now there's 101 questions. Um, so I'll give you a little bit of background. I had pretty terrible PTSD from my own childhood. So I had very destructive waves and I had ADHD, and I could not function for most of
Mhm.
my adult life, pretty much. I've
Okay.
sometimes in some areas functioned very well, but not really. And so I had this wave, and it was terrible. And now you're saying that I had a body that couldn't contain it. I don't know what that means, and I'm
Mm.
fascinated. So what is the wave, and why couldn't my body contain it?
Well, the wave, you have several things. You have physical reactions and physical interventions of the environment to your body, but you have also emotions. And this is the most difficult one because emotions are at a quantum level. We think of emotions as something very abstracted, but if you imagine the quantum world of minimum cells, that's where emotions are. So the emotional waves, we are influenced by the inconscious collective. So sometimes you have waves that a part of it are not yours, and a part of it are yours. It's complex. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why developing a capacity in your physical body of resilience to navigate pain and pleasure, sensations that are pleasant or unpleasant. It's extremely important. And you have to do it through your nervous system. It's the first thing because he is like the master of the orchestra, he's only here to make you survive. Only that. So is only searching for cues of safety or cues of danger. So the first part, it's make your nervous system more resilient, and the second part, it's making the rest of your body more resilient. So you have physical defenses, they are registered in your muscles. So you have two systems, the involuntary system, autonomous nervous system, and the voluntary system, which are muscles, articulations, bones. You have this two-road information, you know? So when I want to grab a pen, I want to grab a pen. I send the information. This is voluntary. And in here, we build defenses that are also our talents in childhood. So it's a bit different from the nervous system, which is only cues of safety and danger, And if you combine the two of them, you start to build a resilience, a capacity to affectation. What is like, how am I affected by the situation outside of me? Some people see a car accident and they get very affected. Others, they pass through. Who determines this? The nervous system, the resilience of the nervous system of that person, and the childhood history of that person. Nothing else. Did I respond to your question? I'm trying to be more shorter because I'm very creative when I start to talk.
We noticed, and we love your creativity. I might be even more confused now because, okay,
Okay.
so I had these waves, right? And in the past, when I was a lot more, let's call it unhealed, before I processed so much,
Mhm.
these emotional states, they would control my life. I had
Mhm.
very little control. And now I have almost full control of my life.
Mhm.
How did I do this? What is the resilience that I bought, that I created? I don't know myself. I don't fully understand. I know that I've done healing. I know that I've worked on these triggers that I had and the emotions stored behind them. Yes, in my body,
Mhm.
different parts,
Mhm.
right? But maybe from your perspective, you can explain what is it that I did? Why am I thriving now?
Well, the tools that you search, I don't believe that are correct, like one tool that it's good for all people. So in your journey, probably you searched for some tools that helped you process some emotions, some physical status, and your nervous system started to have more space, more space through the same situation that arrives you to discern, no, this that I'm feeling is just a memory. It's not, it's not dangerous anymore, you know? And the body is always doing this. It's always doing this. Even if we don't work somatics, our bodies are always searching for homeostasis and harmony, always, you know? And our brains are always choosing the most short path through it. So if you tell me that today you have almost full control of your life, that is very positive. It means that in each step, each tool that you search for yourself made a piece little bit more to your nervous system to have more resilience and to your muscles to work a little bit because the muscles it's much more complex actually. The reaction, we have two types of reaction to the environment, or we are hypertense and we do this with a muscle to the environment, when he contracts, we pull off, the situation, or we have a muscle that is very collapsed. And you have 3 degrees of collapse and 3 degrees of tension, and this is related to each state of development, to each stage of learning, psychological learning process when you were a child. And the people that have more collapse, they didn't have the opportunity to learn those subjects in childhood. And the people that have more tension, they did learn, but somehow the environment took for him, So childhood trauma, it's related completely to relationship. You will feel it only in connection to another person in a high level of stress. Otherwise, if you don't have this high level of stress in connection to one person, you will not feel it in your muscles. It only appears in that specific moments. Okay.
Okay. So I think I'm kind of I mean, I understand that this is complex and that it takes a lot
Yeah.
of self-awareness of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and um,
Did I
but
make you more confused now?
I have questions, Simon, if you are blank.
yeah, go on, yeah.
What you said, Sonia, resonated with it very much about the tension in the muscles and
Mm-hmm.
and the collapse. I don't know what is collapse, so also I would like to know what that means. You said there is like 3 level, right? 3 level of collapse, I think, or something like this. So I'd like to
Yes,
have more
yes.
detail on that. And just to give you some background about me, I had a lot of problems during my childhood, and I stored those trauma in my right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke before, I explained you that I have headache literally every day. Now it's gone.
Yeah.
I don't have, I did a lot of things. I did a lot of massage, I did acupuncture, I did cupping, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like before it was 10 out of 10, maybe even worse. Now it's like 1 out of 10. So I'm still
Mm-hmm.
healing it, but like I feel like I'm touching the end of it. So I'm very happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I resonated with what you said. And yeah, so I would like to know first what are the more details about the collapse and the tension. What are the
Mm-hmm.
symptoms or what it look like, and what are the things? How do you help to release that? How do you help fix that? In
Mm-hmm.
brief, you don't need to go into too much detail, right? So that will be
Yeah.
interesting for me.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, all this theory that I'm talking you about comes from bodynamic, from a Denmark approach. And the person that studied this calls Lisbeth Marsher. Actually, she was a masseur and a relaxation teacher, and she was very intrigued by people that didn't have muscle reactions to some situations. So the collapse is like those people who have, I don't know. Let's talk about me.
Hunchback, maybe? Hunchback? People
No,
who
no, let's talk about me because I
okay.
come from codependence. I come from codependency, and I had some relationships with a profile approaching narcissistic kind of men, okay? And always I would look at them like goddess, like gods, and I couldn't see their toxical behaviors towards me, and I couldn't react it because I couldn't even see, you know. This comes from my childhood. This comes from the relationship that I had with my mom. When I was a baby, my mom couldn't respond my knees because, with the disease and all, right? And the baby between 1 and 8 months, he needs this integration with mom, like an intuition, you know, and he's learning about his needs. Like, I want to sleep, I cry. I want to eat, I cry. And mom comes, But when mom doesn't come baby, little baby, he gives up. He gives up and he says, okay, for me to survive, I need to empty myself and only fulfill myself when my mom comes. So this I was repeating. So the muscles didn't develop to support the learning of my needs when I was a baby. And this is the collapse that I'm talking about.
So
It's
what are the physical symptoms to this of this?
It's difficult to describe because it depends on the context and on the person and what the person brings you. Because in childhood, the first thing that arises is the voluntary system, the muscle. And then the muscle supports the psychological and emotional learning of the child. It's not the opposite. It's not the brain activates and then the body. No, the body activates first, and then the psychological and the emotional learning comes. So when a muscle is collapsed, is a child that didn't have the chance to activate the muscle in connection to their caregivers. Because this activation, this muscle activation, comes in connection to the caregivers. The child, we are beings that were born very, very dependent. In our childhood is the school of life to become independent, right? That's why adult, we are independent. So in that process, some things happen, some good stuff and some bad stuff happens, and I'm talking about trauma. This is more specific and more rare that we think. Normally, we are 80% balance, and we have some stuff. The thing that comes and normally dysregulates us a lot is the shock trauma, which is in the nervous system registration, and this is when we cannot self-regulate. This is when the wave is not, it's not manageable, because we enter in survival mode and we cannot live the survival mode, As you were saying, the collapse. Did I explain well the collapse without complicated?
I have a question
one
also.
I'm
Okay.
starting. So my question is, can you see it physically that it is collapsed?
Sometimes no.
So
Sometimes
it's
no.
just a normal muscle, but it is not really linked between the brain and it doesn't function well, basically. Something like that.
Can you repeat?
It doesn't function well. It's not very well connected with the brain.
It's like, yeah, it's not very well connected to the brain. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you cannot see, sometimes you have several doors where you can identify a collapsed muscle. And one of the doors, it's the verbal, the sentences. This is genius in body dynamic. It's like, Lisbeth, track it. Some sentences that childhood and adults would say related to an emotion and a muscle and a situation, So we can track for what the person says. We can track from how she behaves in a context, a specific context, and we can track it also observing the body. So we manage the three things, because collapsed muscles we are not going to see.
Can it
Sometimes
affect
we cannot.
So
Yeah?
can it affect your reflexes as well?
So the reflex system, it's more related to the nervous system. It's it's when baby, it's still reflex system. So in the womb, birth, and the first 3 months after born, okay? And then he starts to develop little muscles, but until it's still 1 to 3 months, it's a lot of reflex. So reflex is nervous system. That's why it's so complex and so difficult to treat perinatal and natal trauma. It's very delicate. It's like it's so detailed and you have to go so slowly because you access fear of existence in this body, in this world, or terror of existence, or afraid of dying, you know? And you activate nervous system, muscles, fascia, everything. So the, we need to be very responsible. I don't feel yet. I'm in somatic like therapy and certifications for 2 years. In some cases, I don't accept yet because I don't feel that I can go exactly, you know. I'm learning from the past, and eventually I will do some mistakes, but the idea here is to do the less mistake possible, you know, because it is a process that can be very uncomfortable. So you have to balance the discomfort with safety enough for the person to access that, you know. It's a delicate balance. And you, as a therapist or a mentor, we need to resonate a lot and be very grounded. That's why I came to live to nature. That's one of my decisions, you know, to be more grounded to my clients, you know, and to myself, of course. I did it for me.
We
Okay, I
have we
confused
have a
completely.
we have a lot of nature here in Vietnam. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
You should come visit us because we like you.
Oh, oh,
We want you to live near us.
oh. Well, don't speak too much. I will probably come.
It's amazing. It's
It
amazing. Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Wow. In what part of Vietnam do you are?
We are in the center of Vietnam on the most beautiful beach that you've seen. I don't know about
Oh.
Lisbon, but it's beautiful. It's gorgeous here. And
Mm.
we drink fresh coconuts every day. And we have a very, very good life, very relaxed
So
life.
you made very, very good choices for your nervous system. See why you could today feel a lot of capacity because nature co-regulates with us. Actually, we co-regulate to nature because our nervous system recognize living beings, animals, plants, nature. You know, it's like a field of energy, and he knows how to come back. So the choices that we made influence a lot our well-being. So congratulations, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a journey. I've been on it for about 15 years, trying to understand
Wow.
myself. And I've only invested into this. I've never invested into anything
Mm.
else. I've only invested into healing and growing and getting better because what is life without being healthy?
Yeah,
It's worthless. Um,
exactly.
so I
Exactly.
understand exactly you speak in you say it in different words, but I speak your language. So
Mm.
I speak Thai, by the way. It's almost Chinese.
Oh.
Yeah.
Diamond, what was
So
your
it will be
questions?
easy.
My question might not be relevant now, but well, when you said that from codependency, your you didn't get that safety and your needs met easily
Mhm.
from your mother, and then those muscles never developed. And I think I understand what you mean a little bit because I don't know if you're familiar, but I used to study TRE and which is
Yes.
tremors that helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that I was taught there, I didn't really understand it at the time, was that the body is the unconscious mind.
I totally agreed. You know, all the techniques that bring us to the body, they are good. They are good. You know, at some level, improves cognition, improves behavior, improves emotional capacity. They are good. And I totally relate to it. Yes, yes. That's why understanding this map, it's very important, you know. It's
Yeah.
vital, you know, and respecting. Um, I don't want to change subject, but I will change it just a little bit. I'm a very spiritual person. I always felt the field of life. It's very abstract, but I always felt it. And now that I worked a lot in this physical body, I can bring this spirituality down here and live it in my everyday life. It's not perfect. I continue improving, but it's much better this containment because spirituality is like a big body like this, you know. We all have perceptions. We all feel that there is something greater than us, right? In this crazy human life. But then how can we bring all that awareness, that big awareness in this tiny body that has a history that endure pain, shock? How can we do this? You know, that's why I was so interested and still passionate about somatics, which is okay, let's do this body bigger, this physical body bigger for my spirituality to come down. Yeah, for my perceptions, extrasensorial perceptions, be able to land and for me to live in the human experience as a spiritual being, you know?
So you mean basically that by calming down the nervous system and not making it triggered or alert all the time, to react to the external world, because it's calmed down, it's like basically opening the doors to
It's not
invite.
exactly calming. It's not exactly calming. It's teaching people how to self-regulate
Mhm.
and don't having fear of the reactions of the nervous system, which is very different. The
Okay.
nervous system will continue to react to life. I mean,
Right.
life is there. We cannot,
Right, but
right?
it doesn't overreact. For example, for me, I was overacting
Yeah,
constantly,
yeah,
24/7. I was on my guard.
yeah,
But
yeah.
now, no, now I'm so peaceful. Like,
Yeah, because it's not a matter of calm, it's a matter of space. It's
yeah.
different, you know? It's like the nervous system does this movement between contraction and expansion all the time. Our heart contracts and expands, you know, all the time. So it's different for you to have a movement of your nervous system this size or a movement this size. And what is the difference? The nervous charge, somatic nervous charge that is stuck from somatic memories. So this we need to release to have more space of pendulation. Yeah. And then deal of where it's coming because life happens, you know, the good, the bad, the neutral. We are here for that, you know, for the experience. But it's more light to navigate the experience with more ease, right? Sometimes it's not going to be pleasant, but if we are okay with it, you know, if we are grounded with it and we can function with it, we can cross, you know, and getting to the end and say, I had lived a good life, man. It's nice. You know, I had a bunch of experience and I live it. I want that for me.
For sure. Um, it's not that I'm confused, but there's so
There's a
many
lot.
things to discuss.
Yeah.
But maybe you can help me understand another thing that you've mentioned. Something that I've been hearing more and more about is the fascia, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's the connective tissue and the whole system as a whole. And when
Mm-hmm.
it's hindered in one area of the body, the pain is and irritation and discomfort will show up in other places because it's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, I've been going to a therapist, doing very intensive massage and Chinese acupuncture in
Mm-hmm.
my hip area.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I noticed and connected that this is a pain that I've been carrying since my days in the army around 15 years ago, because every time I would have a treatment, certain emotions would come up the days after, and I would have these releases. I'm just interested to hear about your perspective from this and advice about pain, body pain, and chronic pain, and these symptoms in the body.
Well, when we have symptoms in the body, we have other things that arise. You have sensations that arise. You have emotions that can arise. You have memories that can arise related to the pain, you know. You can have impulses, that may arise. And this is a map from somatic experience, which I work with for the nervous system. And the fascia and the nervous system are interconnected, we have in the world exists Rolfing, a very good work with fascia actually for trauma healing and PTSD also. And the both combined, they are very powerful actually, the two techniques. For me, it's very natural that if you are touched or massaged in a pain that has a physical injury or accident or something that happened 10, 15 years ago, that the body will send the information to the brain saying, hey, was here. This is what you felt. This is where you felt it. This is what you saw. It happens the same. If you work with the nervous system, it happens the same, but it's very disorganized. I believe that from what you were describing, you would feel the same emotions, but sometimes images or memories or something's disorganized will arise. Did I
Well,
understood correctly or not?
maybe. Let's see. So I would get a treatment, and maybe for a day or two later, I would just carry around, I'd be irritated. And then another treatment, sadness will come out. And
Very
also,
emotional. Very
also,
emotional.
yeah, also, the way that I live my life is that I'm constantly clearing and taking care of myself and purifying in various techniques. And so it's not every day that something big comes up and I have a big emotional or physical release, but after these treatments, a lot would come out,
Okay.
and sometimes I would have huge releases, and then pain that I've been and stiffness, and I think muscle collapse that I had for over 10 years just overnight opened up. And
You mentioned that you were massaging with Chinese medicine, right?
I
They
went to a
work with
treatment. Yeah.
yeah, because they work also with the energetic body. And this is where we work with emotions, you know. Uh, and Chinese medicine has a very detailed way of knowing the meridians and the secondary chakras and where to treat. So that's why the emotions will arise. What I'm curious about is every time this wave arrived, did you felt that you had a little bit more contained to live it, less containment? It was more desperate, less desperate. Can you remember?
It's been a very long time since I've been desperate. I just
Okay.
allow it to flow. Like maybe I'm not
Okay.
understanding the question correctly,
No,
but
this response. So you started to feel desperate every time this waves arrives after the treatment, and then you started to, okay, I let it flow, I let it come, I know that it will pass. Am I
no, not
right?
desperate. No, what I meant was that I'm not desperate. I've not had
Okay.
desperation for a long time. I learned from letting go of so much and letting go of my PTSD to just flow. And so
Okay.
if emotions come up for me, I
Yeah.
process them, I let them out. If I need to be angry, I'll be a bit angry.
Okay.
I just let it out. I just
Okay.
process it and
Okay.
feel it. Yeah.
So that shows me that you have much more resilience in your nervous system, for starters, okay? To let the wave arises and let it go. So actually the healing of emotions, it's a lot that the capacity that I have to stay with the wave that comes, you know. If I don't have capacity, I start to run off the emotion. If I say I'm sad, I start to feel scared about sadness, so I'm starting to run away from the sadness, and the sadness come bigger, you know. And you both know that's not the way. So the way of working with emotions is the opposite. How can I contain it when it arises? So for me, the treatment that you did with fascia and Chinese medicine was very good for you, because it worked not only in the physical body, but your individual energetic body. We have defenses also in our energetic body related to the physical body, and emotions are there, you know, in the energetic body. So the capacity that you have today of let that arise and knowing intuitively that that will pass, it's the right path to do, you know. That's why you feel so much better and so much in control, which is not control, right? It's flow. It's different.
For the first time in my life, I can wake up in the morning, I can exercise
Wow.
consistently, and I'm just improving more and more, and adding,
Mhm.
gradually adding more and more. But in the past, I've never been consistent in my life with anything because I just couldn't. There's too much
Yeah,
of a
it
turbulence.
was too much. Yeah.
And yeah, it's really an amazing transformation that's happening very quickly now. Every week it becomes
Mhm.
better. So yeah, it's awesome. Um, thank you. For me, I'm not sure I have any questions right now, Alex. Do you have any? No. So, Sonia, it was really, really fascinating to talk with you and have this conversation, and I learned a lot. And I'm
Me too.
probably going to send you some more questions maybe in the next few weeks.
Of
Uh,
course.
because this is very stimulating. Like it's very interesting. So thank you so much for talking to us and teaching us. And if somebody wants to work with you or
Mhm.
they want to learn more, how can they do that? Do you have a
So
website or?
I have a website, soniamelusaraiva.com. And I have an Instagram, sonia.melusaraiva also. And you have all the information there, my WhatsApp, my email, everything that you need to do. And the website, I did it in a way that it's easy to navigate and see a little bit of what I do. And I hopefully will put this podcast in it, because I have a part of podcasts when I'm invited, and then people can relate if they want, you know, if they resonate, they can contact me. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was lovely to meet you both.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sonia.
Sonia.